to accelerate humanity to a work optional future. It is Saturday morning. I just had coffee and I am ready to go. I don't look the best, but I think sometimes you got to be willing to look and not be your best, but still come into work and do the work and just get the shit done. So, without further ado, Saturday morning. This might be a longer episode because we have the time. I don't have work today. And yeah, cool. So, without actually further ado, I'm going to get started and share my screen. So basically, I'm thinking about a few deliverables today. One is like a note. I've been finding that my recent notes have, although they haven't been having any likes, they've been they've been doing pretty well in terms of impressions. Like I usually get only like 10 impressions, and I've been averaging like 50 plus. So this is an indication to me to just keep going and keep posting. So I'm gonna try doing that to start, and then we'll go from there. Um, yeah. So one thing that's on my mind is two things actually. One is what security practices are necessary for the don't work future, like crypto. How do we prevent people from hacking into robots and like killing everybody? Two is what does David Deutsch have to say about the post work future and the work optional future? So let's start with actually David Deutsch because I think that's more interesting to me. So what I want to do is I'm going to open up Claude. I'm going to go to here. I'll be like, hey, what's up, Claude? What does David Deutsch have to say about the work optional future, if anything, in the fabric of reality or the beginning of infinity? There's a few things I think come to mind in the work optional future, which is policy changes, which is robotics, which is AI, which is security in the form of, quantum resistance, and the prevention of people just hacking into robots. And just so you can get into my mind, I envision a future where robots and AI are doing everything. I currently am based in Austin, Texas, and I notice, robo taxis and Waymos everywhere and Zooks. And I believe that we can also increase that to humanoid robots and just basically create a lot of abundance for humanity, so that you have more optionality when you wake up every day and you don't really have to be tied to a certain job. You might not have access to living in the best possible places without having to work or contribute, but you might be able to be in the outskirts of a city in a pretty decent home and basically have free time when you want. So that is my vision for the future. And my main question to you is, what does David Deutsch have to say about this, if anything, in the fabric of reality and beginning of infinity? Please reference the actual chapter. So you might have to like find these books. Reference the actual chapters so that I can open them up because I have access to these books. And I'd love to do some research on that today. So thank you so much. Cool. Let's just fucking send it and let's do the fuck. We lost it. Whisper Flow. Right here. That's what I love about Whisper Flow. I'm not sponsored, but Whisper Flow, if you're watching, I would love to push your product out there because I just fucking love it. I use it every day. Okay. All right. Let's just go on the max effort here. This is important work we're doing. Okay. Cool. So I'm having Fable crank on this and we'll see what it says. Now, while that's happening, what else can we do? Another thing I was thinking of was continuing to update the. Why don't we just get started on this draft right here? So, David Deutsch. I was introduced to David Deutsch by Naval Ravikant. Reading his two books, Beginning of Infinity and Fabric of Reality, has unlocked the way I see the universe and live my day-to-day life. Reading Deutsch is this morning, I had a moment of inspiration. What does Deutsch have to say about the work optional future? Now, I don't think he talks about it in detail. Like he doesn't mention it, doesn't name drop the future, the exact no work hypothesis in his books. I was curious to um, I was curious about what insights we can pull from his works to help us to help guide us in creating such a future. So I asked Fable this morning in max mode uh, what Deutsch had to say. Here is what I was able to find out. Cool. Let's. This is pretty sick so far. Fable is still cranking at the moment, so this is cool stuff. I think this future is so multifaceted. There's so much work that's going to be involved to create it that we need to attack it from all angles. So I don't think there's any bad questions here. And David Deutsch might be the last person to to reference, but I have a feeling that he's gonna. There's some good thoughts that he has. He has that will help us understand that. Help us get to that future. So let's make sure this is copied. Let's press cancel and let's save that for later. And yeah, what else is on my mind? Another thing that is on my mind right now is my day job, which is I'm working for an ed tech company that's creating a new approach to school. So it's not just an ed tech company; it's also a physical school that's creating a new approach to school where they're trying to distill school into a few hours in the morning and then have kids do life skills for the rest of the day. Now, on Twitter, they're actually getting flamed at the moment, which I think is a bit unfounded because, it's a startup, it's an idea. Like people should realize that new things, they're hard to build and it takes time to create. And I think it's like sad to see that. So so that's been on my mind recently as well. It's like, damn, bro, I'm in an org that's kind of getting flamed right now, and I think in these moments you just got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to, if you believe in something, you just got to keep sending it. And I do believe in a future where students just have more leverage and they have more optionality in their day. And this is kind of similar to my don't work hypothesis, where you shouldn't be forced to learn anything you don't want to learn. You should be able to wake up, pursue what you want to pursue, and not be scheduled to some regimented, 1 hour bell, 1 hour bell lunchtime, then another hour, type of thing every day, and then homework assignments, projects, SATs, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I just believe in a work optional future, man, and now, what do I think about like ed tech apps? I think if you're motivated, they're great, but even the most motivated student cannot be motivated throughout a whole edtech apps journey, right? And edtech apps usually like a very long curriculum on a subject. You can't really be motivated for the whole thing. You're basically motivated. The way the human brain seems to work is you have these things called problems, and I take the Karl Popper's view of it. It's like we like to solve problems, and one day every moment of time you're solving some kind of problem, um, and even when you're consuming media, like if you're watching this right now, you're currently joining me in solving this problem. Your brain has kind of entered my brain. We're solving a problem together, which is how does the human brain and education and learning work? And we solve these problems. And like you're not going to like sit and watch like a 3 to 4 to 6 hour monologue and absorb everything. You're gonna have a one question, you're gonna get the answer to it, and then you're going to have another question, you're gonna have an answer to it. So it's like continuous problem solving. And I think ed tech apps that prioritize student response, It's like always like it's not just like a blur. It's not like a waterfall of information, but it's actually like a back and forth exchange. I think those will be the best ones. That's how I'm currently building one of the apps I'm working on, which is trying to trying to prioritize students actually like producing things, um, which I think makes the most engaging experience out there. It's an experiment at the end of the day. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So let's keep going. Okay, cool. Fable came back to us. Fable came back to us. Okay, the first thing is the spark. I remember this chapter. So a caveat is I haven't fully read the book. It takes time to absorb, and I took like a hiatus for a brief time because it just takes a lot of time to absorb. So I think I'm basically ready to hit a Deutsch again. But let's just with that caveat, let's continue. I'm just gonna skim it. Feel free to pause anywhere to read any of this yourself. Okay. Yeah, obviously. Okay. Interesting. Got it. Okay. So I think I'm ready to write the rest of this. So at least so okay. I'm gonna write this idea out, then I'll explain it. Okay, so here's the idea. Deutsch and Popper are like problems are solvable. There's always going to be new problems. And right now, a big criticism of the work optional future is that there's no meaning in such a future. And though I will concede that in that future there will be a change in lifestyle for most of us where we don't have where work is optional, I still think that new future will have its own set of problems and humans will still then and since there will be new problems, there'll be new challenges and there'll be a new definition of meaning. um, meaning to pursue. Okay, so let's read this and then let's refine it and then let's send it out. I was introduced to David Deutsch by Naval Ravikant. Reading Deutsch's two books, Beginning of Infinity and Fabric of Reality, has unlocked the way I see the universe and live my day to day life. This morning, I had a moment of inspiration. I asked myself, what does David. I, I wondered, what does Deutsch have to say about the work optional future? He doesn't name drop the exact no work idea in his books, but I was still curious about what insights we can pull from his works to help guide us in creating, uh, hide us in this future. So I asked Fable this morning in max mode what Deutsch had to say. Uh, what Deutsch had to say about this. What I got, what it told me was that Deutsch would take a philosophical angle to this to Okay, let's read it again. I was introduced to David Deutsch by Naval Ravikant. Reading Deutsch's two books, Beginning of Infinity and Fabric of Reality, has unlocked the way I see the universe and live my day to day life. This morning, I had a moment of inspiration. I wondered, what does Deutsch have to say about the work optional future? He doesn't name drop the exact no work idea in his books, but I was still curious about what insights we can pull from his works to help guide us in this future. So, uh, help guide us in bringing forth this future. So I asked Fable this morning, what I asked Fable this morning what Deutsch had to say about this. What Deutsch had to say. It said Deutsch would take an optimistic philosophical angle, and after sitting with this for a bit, I agreed. A lot of people criticize the work optional future because they think humans would have no meaning in such a future. Deutsch would argue the opposite. He would say problems are inevitable, so even though people would have to change their lifestyle in this future, would have a change of lifestyle, would have a change of lifestyle, their life would still have problems. How to pursue aesthetics, sense, how to get to Mars, how to how to get to Mars, for example, how to improve ourselves, how to get to Mars, how to write upon Shakespeare's sonnets. Since there would still be problems to solve, there would therefore be new meaning to be new. Since there would still be problems to solve, there would therefore be new meaning to pursue and fun to be had. The work optional future remains alluring. I think I like this. I think I'm just going to send it out. And yeah, cool. All right, cool. We produced. We produced. You got to. We got to. You got to write. You got to pursue. That's what life's about. Um, I'm glad I got that out. And I think I'm probably going to end it there. We're at 21 minutes. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.